So let's get it started. So I first off, just to introduce you, this is my dude, Jeremy Conrad. Everybody knows who this person is. This dude is on that legendary status in the game industry and journalism. So I just want to say one love, God bless, and I'm thankful to have you on. And we got a lot of stuff we're gonna talk about. I appreciate you taking the time. How you feeling today, man? What's good?
No problem. It's cool. I'm a fan of yours as well. I like what you do on YouTube.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate it, my dude. You already know, son. Shots fired. I get it popping, man. All
Oh yeah,
day.
I just watched your Oculus video the other day.
Oh, for real? Yeah, I love the Oculus, man. I get hype off. Oh, you know me, son. I get hype, son. I just love everything, man. You know, I'm just real proud of everybody and what they're doing, man. You know what I'm saying? So I just love to show the love, man. That's
Yeah,
what it's all
Oculus
about.
would be real exciting. I'm actually one of the few people I think who was excited about hearing Facebook buying them.
Hell yeah. I was crazy excited. See, like, a lot of motherfuckers, they don't know nothing. Like, you know what I'm saying? All they see is on the outside looking in. A lot of people don't got a mind of their own. They just like to join in on conversations of things that they hear. Now, let me ask you, you know, since we talk about Facebook and Oculus, like, here's something that I wanted to say. I've used Oculus plenty of times. I was with them from the beginning and everything. Show mad support. I used the Crystal Grove. It's crazy. You know, the Valkyrie demo was insane. It was
Yeah.
great. It was great. So my thing is, if a company like Facebook, as big as they are, going to spend $2 billion on the Oculus initial vision has not changed. All that did was put them in a bigger space and a better space and a better financial space to be able to be creative and do these things and to solidify the position of VR in gaming, but also VR and other forms of entertainment, social media, all types of stuff. This VR can be used for anything. So what I don't
Yeah.
like is when people that never used it, you know what I'm saying, they constantly thinking about the Virtual Boy days. So they automatically
Yeah.
think it's not gonna work. So what are your
No, no,
thoughts?
is they're afraid of Facebook because they don't see Facebook as a gaming company, and they're not really. But I think Facebook sees it as something bigger than just gaming. I mean, they talked about some cool ideas they had for the VR, and that will actually lead it to be adopted beyond just core gamers because more people will have it, then there will be more installed base, and then like Ubisoft said, they like Project Morpheus needs 1 million units sold to make stuff on it. Well, Facebook could easily get 1 million Oculus Rifts out there.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about seeing the bigger picture. That's why I don't really like when a lot of people talk and they have no idea of all sides of the story. Like, you know what I'm saying? They just looking at gaming, gaming, gaming. Facebook ain't known for gaming. Why they did this? Like you know what I'm saying? It's not about that. You gotta have an open mind and understand that these people, you know, over at Oculus and these people over at Facebook, they obviously had a lot of conversations and had a lot of agreements to
Mm-hmm.
make them understand why this makes sense. No motherfucking company in the world is gonna give you $2 billion if they ain't absolutely sure or truly believe in the
Yeah,
shit working. You know what I'm saying? And if gaming,
absolutely.
yeah, and if gaming is the core of Oculus, Facebook nowhere near is gonna allow that to die. Like, you know what I'm saying? So you know, a lot of people, I just don't think they use their head and stuff. So that's the way I felt about it. But what the first thing I want to talk to you about though
Mm-hmm.
is you know, the fact that you know you left IGN and you started Furious Fanboys .com. Like I mean I applaud you, dog. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, taking a step out, doing your thing. But what I wanted
Well,
go ahead.
well, I left IGN initially. I actually went and worked on the other side of the industry. I went and worked for a couple of game.
There we
We're
go.
connected.
There we go. Okay, yeah. So yeah, now go ahead again.
Okay, let me see if I can get video back on. Okay, yeah, I left IGN back in 2003, and I actually went to work for Sony Online. I worked on Star Wars Galaxies there for a while. A little bit, I was at Blizzard for a few months, but I went and worked on both sides of the industry. And
Mm.
yeah, Furious Fanboys came about where a friend of mine, a coworker of mine at Sony, um, he left Sony as well because when you work on both sides of the industry, you see the PR side and you see the development side. You can kind of get burned out in a way. And yeah, so we started up a Furious Fanboy site, and we're not really, we're not beholden to PR. We're not um, there's ads that run on our site, but I don't even really see. I actually run ad block on my on my side, so we don't even see what ads are running on our site. So we just say it as it is. You know, we're not afraid of being cut off and stuff. I mean, we would occasionally get review copies and we get movie screens and that sort of thing, but we're not afraid of getting cut off in that way because it's best just to be honest with what you're telling your readers. You don't want to bullshit them.
Now, I got a question for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because of the fact of you just said about you don't want to bullshit on people. There's something that Kanye West said recently, and I say the same thing now. And if you get in trouble for telling the truth, then imagine what you've been being told for the longest time. You see what I'm saying? Now think about it. You already know me, motherfuckers. I done been slandered in the press. I done had everything. People done been, I get the worst treatment. There's a lot of racial negative shit that go against me. All types of stuff. But it's all good because God knows my heart. And everybody, like, whether you agree or not, I truly feel I'm the best at what I do. And I feel I'm the best, in the industry simply because of those reasons. Like, you know what I'm saying? But the thing is, like, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, the reason why I got into this industry is because I wanted to bring the love back.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to bring that arcade era back in terms of feeling amongst other people and journalists and the real shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So your time at IGN, your time spending time on both sides of the field, what's been like the biggest bullshit that you had to deal with, and what's been the most refreshing now that you're doing what you're doing now?
The most refreshing thing is not having to worry about if you say something bad about something, you don't have to worry about that publisher pulling ads. I mean, we have a big ad department, and most smaller sites you go through like an ad network, so you don't really have to worry about I'm gonna trash this movie or this game or something, and then you don't have to worry about the PR person calling saying, yeah, we don't want you saying that anymore, else we're not going to send you a copy. I had that happen. I had it wasn't me who wrote the review, and I worked at IGN. I was running the DVD site. I had one of the PlayStation editors write an anime review for an anime called Love Hina that he did not like. And ADV, the company that made it, said, yeah, don't have him reviewing movies for us anymore, or else we won't send you copies. So that sort of thing, it happens a lot. And people, you will get like game journalists who like go on GAF and places like that and kind of act like PR for game journalists and say that stuff never happens, but it does. It absolutely does. You'll get. I have seen people get fired because the things they said caused issues with advertisers. Even before the Gertzman Gate happened, I've seen it happen where an editor was let go because he was too abrasive and advertisers didn't like it. And that's just crap. I mean, you should be able to, tell people the truth and tell people, what they need to know aside from following like a message that PR wants to put out there.
See, you know what? I love you, dog. You know what I'm saying? like straight up, so real talk. I love you, dog. I'm starting to see a big shift in the industry between the indies and the major sites, the independent developers, the major, developers. I'm starting to see a big shift. Now, I'll give you an example. When you look at Sony, right, and you see how Shuhei and everybody, is all about the gamers, all about the game, and they connected with the community, and now Microsoft got Phil Spencer, and everybody's connected with the community, talking about the gamer, this and that. You know what? Here's what I fucking hate about seeing that shit now, because it's happening right now like it's something new when it should have been that from the beginning.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So my thing is the fact that we're looking at this as, wow, they're doing this. Wow. We shouldn't be, surprised by that. That should have been what it was since the beginning of time. Like, you know what I'm saying?
There is a shift going on. Like channels like you on YouTube, and there's other like you and like Angry Joe and Boogie. They're really, you guys on YouTube, you tell it as it is, and you're not afraid to just get out there and tell the truth. And I think that's like the game journalist establishment, the large, I call them corporate sites. I
Yeah.
think they're kind of afraid of that because, on YouTube, like you and everyone else, you get people listen to you, and that's what they're going to. If they want to hear about a game or what's really going on, they fire up YouTube and they go on there and they get the truth, as opposed to going and reading something on a site like Polygon, which,
Yeah, they full of shit a lot. Yeah, they full of shit a lot. They know that. But see, you know what I don't like? I don't like when see me. I'm very confrontational. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people don't like a person that's confrontational. I ain't gonna beat you up and fight you. I want to debate and talk. Like you know what I'm saying? But the thing is, I'm very confrontational because a lot of people, in the industry, they feel like they are above who they are because of who they work for. You see what I'm saying? And I'm like, yo, dog, like you ain't shit. You could get fired today and nobody will care about you. Like and what you've done, and nobody will care. So the point I'm trying to say is, what does this industry mean to you? Like, you know what I'm saying? Because that should be the reason. The reason why you get into this industry, because it should be a passion of yours. Like when
a lot of
you,
times it's just a hobby, and
yeah,
it's about the games, really. It's not really to create. The thing that makes me mad, this thing that really makes me roll my eyes, and I think one big site that's really guilty of it is Gawker and all their sites, which Kotaku is part of, are the social justice warriors.
yeah.
Who look for something to, usually it's a feminist issue or something, to really latch onto and get super offensive of, and they put up these clickbait articles. I'm like, what does that have to do with the game? That's not saying if the game's good or not. You're nitpicking content.
Yeah, I'm tired.
Just to create controversy.
Yeah, I'm tired of that bullshit.
Really pisses me off.
I'm tired of that bullshit. Like, so there's certain nasty scenes in Castlevania, Lord of Shadows too.
That Castlevania thing just made me roll my eyes. I'm like, have you never seen a vampire movie?
Like, yeah, so it's like I feel emotionally, get the fuck out the industry then if you can't handle it. Like, come on, man. Seriously, it's a game. Like, so it's crazy.
They take it out of context. Like I said, it's a vampire game. That every single vampire movie has that as kind of like the theme. They go and drink blood of women, but you're taking it out of context and throw a fit. And yeah, exactly. Those type of people shouldn't be commenting on games.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, man, because they too sensitive. You know what I'm saying? So now the next question that like I said, thank you again for taking your time out, Jay. I really appreciate this shit, man. Real talk. So the next thing I want to ask you, and this is something that I'm noticing now too in the industry, but when you look at the consoles with the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4, you know what I'm saying? Like the PlayStation 4 is, is outselling Xbox One, but they're both doing really good. Like they really fucking amazing. Like they both doing great and stuff like that. Now, considering that they are doing this well, and you got the downloads, you got all these great games and graphics, the independent push is crazy. Where do you see the industry going in the next 3 to 4 years, considering how well things are thriving right now? You know what I'm saying? For the indies and the majors, you know what I'm saying? Like, where do you see it going? Because there's a lot of good that's happening, but then there's a lot of companies that's closing. It's a mixed bag, so to speak. Sometimes, you know what I'm saying? What are your thoughts on the industry?
I think the indie thing is just like the tip of the iceberg. I think
you get
a lot of fanboys who kind of try to discount indie games. I mean, I've seen a lot of people say, PS4 has no games because they're all indies. But I think indies are kind of like the future of the industry in that a lot of people want to know a way to get in the industry. And back in the day, you could go to QA and do that type of stuff. No, the best way for people to get in the industry now is to learn how to code, get Unity, make yourself a little indie game, get noticed, and say, hey, look, I made a game. And a lot of people are doing that now because the barrier of entry to create a game now, there's a lot of, Unity's one, but there's a lot of other great programs on PC and everything to actually, there's a game studio that actually really make it easy to create whatever game you want to do. So you're going to see a lot more indie games, and Microsoft's doing this with their ID at Xbox. Sony said they have something like 1,000 indie devs on board.
Yeah.
You're going to see a lot more of that thing. Where it actually kind of started with the mobile, with the iPhone and Android, where the barrier entry was really low for people to make games. And look how many 99-cent games come out on the phones. That's going to happen with consoles. And
wow. Okay.
You're going to see a lot of that now. And the reason why you're getting these big companies, laying off and having problems is these budgets on games are getting so huge that they're not sustainable, and you're gonna have to see people make more lean development choices where everything is they're making games smaller and cheaper. Blizzard's doing this. They put their Titan game on the back burner, and they're making games with small teams that aren't very expensive, and then they turn out to be really good, like Hearthstone, Heroes of the Storm's another one, and they're working on a third one. And that sort of thing, you're going to see a lot more, and I think you're going to start seeing that even on the big consoles, Sony and Microsoft doing that, doing small games, smaller teams, and kind of copying the indie model.
All right, cool. That sounds great. What are your thoughts on this whole DirectX 12 thing? There's a lot of people saying that it's supposed to make the Xbox One a lot better. I mean, I'm not sure, but what are your thoughts? What is your take on that?